Start with you. Just raise your hands for questions as usual.
Yeah, Tony, I'm guessing that Heflin and Pleasant's struggling a little bit. Wasn't really the plan going into tonight. Can you talk about maybe what you saw from them and then what you got out of McLaughlin afterward?
Yeah, for sure. And Wes, sorry, but the first thing I'd say is I'm probably not worthy of an opening statement, but VFL around here means Vol for life. And Randy Mazey is one of the best coaches that's ever coached here. He coached during the Rod Del Monaco era, which we're very jealous of around here. And that's kind of what we're working towards, revitalizing that thing. But Coach Mazey's at West Virginia. His son had a really bad collision in the outfield and has been in the hospital. So just something worth mentioning to everybody out there that came across him. And if you win here, they'll embrace you more than any place in the world. And while he was here, he was a winning coach. He's been like that everywhere he's been. So we're praying and giving our strength to Weston, and I know he's coming along. So hopefully good things to come for his family. But in relation to your question, it's never the plan to have your starters struggle, but also, Will wasn't supposed to start last weekend. And then we asked a lot of them by trying to go get us 3 outs in the first inning over at Charlotte while still starting this Saturday. And, we're facing a good hitting team, as I mentioned last night, and it just didn't go great for him. And we thought Pleasance was the first guy out of the pen regardless, but he was nothing. He was a shell of himself, and it's not anything we wouldn't share with him. He wasn't throwing the ball. And anyone who was watching saw that. So a learning experience for him. If he throws the ball like he's capable of, he'll do much better, but it wasn't even close. Now, Will, he's a battler. That was just kind of one of those things that happened, as I mentioned. And then you talk about McLaughlin, he changed the whole game. I mean, I hate for him that he gave up 2 runs. It's easy to look at it now and say we left him in too long. But if I'm watching that game on TV, I don't want to see Mark McLaughlin come out of the game ever tonight with how he was throwing the baseball. So just another really good outing by him. That's all he's done ever since he's been here. So looking forward to seeing more of him on the mound for us.
Go ahead to Ben next.
Tony, you all were down by 3 twice early in the game tonight. What do you think kind of sparked that change? And I know it was early for a comeback, but what do you think sparked that turnaround?
Yeah, Ben, it was already like that in the dugout. It just was. I talked to the guys after the game and call it will over skill. I mean, that's usually kind of something you maybe point at an individual effort, but just for whatever reason, I don't know if it was last night's win or, they talk behind the coach's back. So I don't know if they've got some sort of special plan or secret sauce, but there was a different flavor in the air. It kind of reminded me of our effort at Georgia Southern. We did have a nice comeback win there in a 12-inning game that we won, and it was kind of that same fight in the dugout. And that fight or that vibe doesn't guarantee you wins, but it sure makes it easier on the guys that are in the lineup to play better. And I think they fed off that. I think they fed off McLaughlin's effort on the mound too. He just kind of transitioned everybody's mind to, wait a minute, we can shut the door here and, stop them from scoring. And then while we keep scoring, we'll eventually take the lead.
I'll go to Joseph next.
Yeah, the grit and the determination from this team is the real deal. How is this going to translate into SEC play?
Yeah, I like you got the conviction behind you on that one. I'm going to agree with you if you're seeing it from up there. I hope the players hear that at some point and share that same sentiment. But from what I've seen out of our guys that were on last year's team and this year's team, the best thing they got going is the will to compete. And there is some talent in there. I think the talent gets overhyped because the group effort, I'm talking about individuals, the group effort is what's truly there. And so guys end up playing a little bit higher level and doing some things that ultimately an individual gets credit for. But it's kind of been there for us for really the last 2 or 3 years. And I'm looking forward to seeing that continue.
Back to Wes and then Ben.
Can you unmute, Wes?
Yeah, so unmute Wes.
He got me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony, in different sports, you hear people use phrases like, kind of that was a culture win or something, was that kind of a culture win tonight? I mean, looked like one of those nights y'all just weren't really having it the first few innings and then really kind of turned around pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Anderson said in the locker room it was a big win. And if he says anything like that, then it was certainly something of significance. But again, if I was just going to paint the picture through my own eyes, I think they showed up at the park today determined to win. And, every team should do that, you feel like, but anyone who's really been in a locker room or in a dugout, especially over the course of a baseball season when there's a lot of repetitions and a lot of games, it's easier said than done. Hey, just show up, willing to win the game or lay it all on the line, or again, any of those things you'd put on a t-shirt or something like that. But they kind of had that determination in my eyes from the get-go. It's just the results aren't always going to reflect that, but really it was the second inning. They put up 3, we put up 3. And then, they scored 4. We didn't score right away, but there was still that kind of competitive edge in the dugout. So I like our culture here. I think it's because of the individuals that work for the University of Tennessee and interact with our guys. But, each game's going to take on its own flavor. Each team, and this team's really starting to find themselves and truly become what I think they are capable of being. That's kind of what came out tonight. But I'll take any way you want to paint it because it was a win.
Tony, I know that if Jackson doesn't get hurt, then you probably have your 3 starters going into SEC play, but just a week away and maybe some guys not grabbing the bull by the horns and taking advantage of the opportunity. Is that at all frustrating?
Yeah, I think you always want answers, but if you want to flip it and have a positive mindset, what you want is competition. And we literally talked to our guys on Thursday. Hey, if you want the ball or you feel like you've been swinging it well in the cage, like a guy like Logan Steenstra, got his opportunity tonight, but he's deserved more because you can see steady progress every day. So if you're one of those guys, just understand that this thing is kind of cyclical. A guy gets his chance, and if he makes the most of it, he kind of stays in the mix. But there's guys that kind of move up and down. And if you're sitting there waiting, your time will come. And then it's about being prepared and then, not shying away. There's, no secret ingredient to going out there and striking everybody out or hitting a home run if you get a pinch hit situation. But it's about being prepared and then not shying away when you get the opportunity. And if we see guys that are a little meek or a little shy, they're probably going to go, back down to the bottom, and their time will come again, but it ain't coming in a hurry.
All right, we'll finish up with Madison.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. You've spoke on it some already, but you get down 3 runs, then the 6th inning, huge rally to take the lead and finish with a new season high in hits. What does that just say about the effort that this team shows and the resiliency that they have early?
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I think the hitting part of that would be answered by saying it's fully capable group of guys of doing that. And at some point with the sample statistics, numbers start to even out. And I'm not too caught up in all the numbers that are on our stat sheet here. We talk about different things that we want to achieve, but you know what kind of numbers I'm talking about. I mean, there's guys that are capable of doing really good things in that lineup. And, the numbers will speak for themselves by the end of the year when a full season's been played. And then, the grit and all that, that's, I like our culture for a lot of reasons, but we can't just tell the guys to play hard and always bounce back if it's a tough loss or we're down 3 runs. There's more players than there are coaches. So that's kind of their choice more than anything. And for whatever reason, this team doesn't seem to be perfect. And, there's certainly some holes we could shoot through what's gone on so far. And we're fighting through some adversity and things like that. But they've shown they're not scared to play on the road. They're capable of playing from behind. And when they're in it for 9 innings, it's a fun group to be around, and they look pretty dangerous too. So hopefully these kids are mature enough to be paying attention to what works and they roll with it. And of course, we need to earn our salary by steering them in that direction.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.